All right, everybody. Welcome to the Here Brotherhood podcast. My name is John Moore,
I'm Mike Allen.
and we are the co-hosts of the podcast. And we have a special guest today. I can't wait. It's what, 2.5-ish, 2 years in the making.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but that we've been trying to have you on. So we've got Logan Petersen, a man among men.
A short man among men.
But a beautiful man among
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll let you do a proper introduction
Sure.
here in a second, and I've got a lightning round with some fun questions.
Oh, okay.
But so Logan, I guess where we'll start is just how we met. So I was going over our messages on Instagram, and it was actually from the Here Brotherhood page. At the end of 2023, and all I said was,
Dang. It's like 2.5 years ago.
I know. Yeah, December 20th to be exact.
Okay.
2023. So we started in 2023 at the beginning of the year. So
Oh, dude, I should have worn my hat. I still have that hat.
oh, it's all right. It's
Hey, you're
good.
repping
Hey,
a good
you are.
brand right now.
you are
Thanks.
Dad Bods and Beards. Jinx 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Give me a soda. Yes. I'll have a Dr. Pepper. So December 20th, I messaged from the Here page just saying love the content. So I think I'd seen a video of you, and
Dude.
it was one of your like.
Was it the struggle shuffle?
I don't remember what it's.
Was it the one where it's like, men, are you guys
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Okay, dude, that was like
And then it goes
my-
into you dancing in a warehouse with disco.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the whole thing.
That
And I'm
was-
like, this guy is amazing.
those like I did like a 7-video series on those. I found like as many videos as I could of like
Yeah.
women starting it off being like, men, are you guys okay? And then I'm like, nope. And then I just go into like dancing and just kind of make lighthearted whatever. That was pretty much what put me on the map. I had some good stuff before, but I had like hundreds of millions of views on those videos.
Gee.
And it was like, oh, I'm a mental health dark humor guy. I'm like, this is my niche. I'm like, I found it.
minted.
And I'm like, these were the easiest and funnest videos to make. And I'm like, oh, I found it. And so I got so many messages from those,
Crazy.
and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's crazy. Okay, I actually want to bookmark that and
Yeah.
talk about some of those things
'Kay.
a little bit later. But yeah, so after that video, I'm like, these are the kind of creators, the kind of people that would love to just share our message with and see if there's alignment. And so I just messaged, said, love your content, brother. with a fist emoji, of course.
Was it brother ER or was it an A?
It is a brother.
Okay. Gotcha.
Love the content, brother.
A little more formal for the first outreach.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, love your content, brother.
Yeah.
Trying to be cool, but no, it was full on white boy brother.
Yeah.
And then January 16th, you responded.
Oh
Thanks,
yeah.
man.
I gave you a whole. I left you on red for a
No,
minute.
well, I mean, you were busy. You were getting a lot of
also-
traction at that
I
point.
have severe ADHD, and
Yeah.
it takes me a minute.
hey, but what matters is that you respond.
Sure.
So we appreciate it. You said, "Thanks, man. Just trying to do my part to end the stigma of it being weak to speak up about mental health." And so
Ooh, weak to speak.
I know. I'm like,
Nice.
yeah, it's pretty good. And I'm like, hey, we're building a whole community around that. What are the odds? And then I invited you to do a Here Talk, which was something we did kind of towards the beginning of just having people come on, share their story, just providing spaces for guys to come together. So anyway, I don't want to belabor the whole getting together story, but then it was just a couple weeks later, we went and had lunch, and I actually didn't realize you were in Utah
Yeah.
until like we were setting up a time to chat online, and then I saw that you were in Utah. I'm like, well, we might as well get lunch, and so
So we went to
did.
Zupa's.
Zupa's.
And for like 2 hours, and I think we both ended up crying at some point. And I was still
multiple
deep,
times.
and I was still deep in the construction industry at that point. Like my
Yeah.
beard was super long. I was jeans and boots every day. Yeah, it was like almost like a different lifetime ago
Right.
of
Yeah.
how much has changed since then.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a good entry point into
Yeah, it
why
is.
don't you tell us about your life? And what
Well,
has
I was born the
changed?
day after Taylor Swift. Literally
December 14th.
89. Yeah. So the universe.
Oh, I know exactly.
The
when.
universe
because
gave her-
two of my kids have the same birthday, and also I love Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
I'm a massive Swiftie.
Yeah.
I got a 10-year-old daughter and then my
Yeah.
wife. But yeah, I mean, the universe gave her all the magic and it gave me a beard and a mental illness. So
Okay.
that was like, shoot, we don't got anything left. Let's give this guy something. But no, it was it's been kind of a weird ride. I mean, you and we met, and then I have to credit you actually kind of helping skyrocket Dad Bods and Beards a little bit, because Tyson and I had been doing the podcast just like little shirt mics in his barber shop and then like web show or whatever. And then I saw your guys' show and I was like, oh, your audio is so good and everything is so good. I'm like, who do you guys work with? And you're like, well, I do have my brother who's doing this. We got paired with your brother. We worked with your brother for about a year. He helped us just get super polished and like look really well. And then we ended up.
Shout out to Tommy.
Oh yeah, Tom. Tommy's videos are unmatched. Like his quality is so amazing. And then we worked with Tommy for quite a while, and then we got with the management company where we're doing. Dude, it's wild. We're like doing comedy stuff now.
Yeah.
But when I got on social media, it was after the pandemic. I'm wishing now, I'm like, shoot, I should have started during the pandemic when everybody else, all the stupid dance trends, build up millions of followers and then become somebody. But no, I started, it was like right after the pandemic, and my sister and her husband and kids did one of the dumb dance trends, and they got like 30,000 views on TikTok. And I was one of those guys who's like, oh, TikTok's stealing all your information. You shouldn't be, I'm like, TikTok's dumb. I was such like a social media hater.
Yeah.
And then she was talking about getting all these views, and then we're kind of competitive. And I was like, I bet you I could make a video and get to 50,000 before you. And she was like, you're on. I took it way too seriously, and she did not. Now I do social media full time.
Wild.
But yeah, I got on there and I just started doing some lip sync stuff, and I was doing like construction humor, like some beard stuff. And I was in the trucking industry at that time. I was doing like trucker stuff, and realized that I'm like, oh, this external validation stuff is really fun. Like strangers telling me like, oh, you're funny, nice beard, like, oh, you're like whatever. And then you get some people, you're like, I wouldn't say that online to a complete stranger. Are you okay? But and then it was around my birthday of that same year that my birthdays were always hard for me. After a certain point, we can kind of get back to that if we needed. But 2017, I was diagnosed bipolar, and I had some suicidal ideation and attempts. And so every year since then, my birthdays would always be really hard on me because it was like another year reminding me that I almost wasn't here to celebrate another one. So it was almost feeling guilty about my birthday. I'm kind of like it was more of a reminder than a celebration. And so I took this little platform, I think of like 25,000 followers I'd built at that point. And I went on there and I was like, hey guys, it's my birthday and I don't like my birthday. And here's why. And I just shared a little snippet of my run with bipolar, depression, anxiety, ADHD, this whole gauntlet of neurodivergence and mental health issues that I struggled with. And it was like the most engaged video I'd had ever at that point. It was all these guys that followed me for the blue collar humor and the beard stuff and all this little beard influencing stuff I was trying to do with beard oils. And it was just like all this like thank you and the messages I was getting, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. There's something here.
Yeah. And
that's honestly like what springboarded. I met Tyson through all the beard stuff because he owns a beard care company and men's grooming company. We started doing a bunch of, funny videos there. We started doing more funny videos together. And then it was like, did I just find my best friend in my 30s? Like that, it was like kind of like high school.
Yeah.
And then it was just chasing authenticity and just trying to put stuff out that felt real. And it was like a most positive snowball effect. And then last January, I went full time with social media and podcast, and we've had opportunities to talk. With events with you guys. We've put on our own men's mental health retreat. We went to Belize this last year. The podcast, I got ranked the number 4 men's mental health influencer on Instagram last year, and the 3 guys ahead of me were all doctors. So that was like, it was either like, this is really cool, but I also feel really bad for you guys because it's like you did years of schooling and you got commas and you're in your debt, and I'm over here with just a phone and no shame, right?
You can call me Dr. Petersen now.
Yeah. But like it was this wild ride I didn't ever expect to be on, but it was like, oh, I was getting more fulfillment out of it than I think that I was giving, because it was giving men permission to like express the struggles, reach out, get help, but at the same time, like you don't have to lose your masculinity. You can still be the tough guy. You can still be the rock. And I think it was like this like kind of calling that I didn't end up realizing I had was just like, hey, I went through all of this stuff. I survived all of it. And that was actually a lesson I learned in your guys' breathwork session.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was still dealing with like anger for a long time of like, why did I go through all of this? Why did I go through years of hallucinating and wanting to die and depression and you know, traumatizing my wife with just, I mean, you can imagine, I don't know if you guys want to get into that with bipolar situations, but I had this breathwork session with you guys, and it was the first breathwork session I'd ever done. And I had this voice talking to me in this moment that I felt like it was God at the moment, as a guy who's not religious but gone more spiritual. But at the same time, it sounded like me. And the voice was, I had to break you so I could build you to have the impact that I needed you to have.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was that's this 30,000 foot view of everything that has happened, you know, since I started on social media, was like, there's so much fake out there. And there's so much, I'll say this lightly, I am not a fan of the alpha bro approach on social media. It's very harming.
Yeah.
And it is the means of selling a program 9 times out of 10.
Yes.
And I feel like the tides are shifting, and it's because of stuff like this. Because true masculinity is not pounding your chest. It is not, I could rip your head off. It's calm under pressure. It is being able to assess a situation and react accordingly without causing more harm. And so my whole approach on social media has gone from the funny. I still lean into the funny a lot, but it's also more so like it comes down to giving men permission to explore their feelings, to explore that, you know, they might need help, but at the same time, giving them the resources they need to talk to the people in their life, because you can't do it on your own. And 9 times out of 10, there is a woman in their life, and it's also being able to talk to them to help them understand that, like, this isn't like you're not a failure if you need help, and the man in your life is not a failure if he's asking for help. And so it's just this like convoluted spaghetti bowl where guys just look at it and they're like, I'm just gonna slide it to the side, and I'm never gonna talk about it until it's too late. So my whole approach on all this is just like, put as much positive crap out as I possibly can, with projecting as much positive masculinity as you can, because then it gives people permission who might be looking for it and they didn't know they were. So this is my TED Talk.
Well,
sorry, I pounded so much caffeine before.
Well, I kind of just comment on the humor aspect, because I feel like that, especially in the realm of like mental health online or experts and whatever, it's often very scientific. I mean, you pointed out the 3 top voices above you were all PhDs, doctors, whatever, right? And I'm guessing they're not approaching it with like funny videos and like spoofing off of trendy.
They're very
videos.
Engaging, so they know how to. That's the reason they're doing so well, is because they present the information in an easy, digestible way.
Yeah,
which
like,
is what most people need.
Great educators,
Yeah.
right? But probably not like, hey, let's do a funny video that's like spoofing off of some trendy TikTok thing that you and Tyson are now going to replicate. And then you come in, like you do some of that stuff, and then you come in with this little 1-2 punch of, you know, funny, and then boom, here's a message on like
100%
total authenticity, vulnerability, openness, transparency. That's, to me, that was like, it's such a cool approach, and it just feels very genuine to who you are. And I guess
Thank
like
you.
any further thoughts on like that being, was that even strategically thought through, or it just happened organically?
So it's funny how this happened. So Tyson runs Copper Johns, which is a men's grooming company.
Yeah.
It
And
started-
tell them who Tyson is, for those that don't know.
Tyson Allred is the other half of Dad Bods and Beards. He's my business partner. He and I are 2 of the 4 guys of Middle Aged Mayem, which is a comedy tour we just got signed to, which is
So cool.
It's so wild of like what's come from
story.
this. That one's like mature audiences only. So so Tyson and I, we connected over TikTok, because I was seeing all of these reels of these reviews for this Copper John's beard oil. And I'd tried all these different brands, and at the time my beard was like literally like 14, 15 inches long. It was huge. I reached out and I was like, hey, what's your scent profiles like? And he looked at some of my videos and he's like, oh, dude, I'd love to do an affiliate marketing thing. I'm like, great. He's like, what's your address? I'll send you some. And he's like, you're in Utah? Same situation. I'm like, yeah. We actually ended up talking for like a few weeks over the phone, doing some content together. There was a beard competition up in Snowbird. They're a thing. They're worldwide. And they're massive charity events. Like people fly in from other countries. There was one up in Snowbird, massive charity events, bunch of bearded weirdos. There's all kinds of categories. He was sponsoring part of it. We met, and it was one of those like stepbrothers things of kind of like, did we just become best friends? Yep. Like, do you want to make content? Yep. Like it was, our wives still think it's weird. But, and then we did a YouTube live on his YouTube channel for Copper Johns. He does lives multiple times a week, and he wanted to do he did these little interviews every now and then with people he did content with. And I was the only one that ever did it in person because I just drove up to his lab and we did it together. And it was so funny because he's like 6'2", 6'3". Like he's a tall dude. I'm 5'10". We were sitting in the chairs and it was the biggest difference because he's got a super tall torso and I got a short torso. I literally was sitting on phone books so that we could be eye level with the camera. And all of the notes all like the comments we were getting of like, you guys need to start a podcast. This is so insanely funny, engaging. It was fun. It was authentic. And then we kicked the idea around for like six or 7 months. And then when we were thinking about doing it, I went to my father-in-law because he's more like my friend than he is my father-in-law. I was like, oh, me and that guy Tyson are thinking about starting a podcast. And he goes, oh, like every middle-aged white guy, you're going to have a podcast, right? And I'm like, yeah, go figure. And he's like, what are you going to call it? Dad Bods and Beards? And I'm like, yeah, I think we are actually.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to
be. And now he wears our shirts and our hats and he loves it. And he, for some reason, he wants to start a podcast.
He's like, I named it.
Yeah, literally. So it's his claim to fame. Your criticism became the brand.
It's amazing.
But so we started it and it literally just started off like episode 1. It was if you go all the way back, the audio is terrible. Tyson picked the song, and it's like some weird girly bop. Like it's just so bad.
Nothing against girly bop. I know you love a good girly bop.
Like, it was one of those like unlicensed, free to use, and like he picked it off of like the intro, like first 4 seconds, but didn't listen to the remaining 12.
Oh boy!
And it's like, what are these lyrics?
Gosh, I really got to go back to the first episode.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's like I've been giving you the worst of me. I'm like, what? But we did that, and we started just talking episode 1, and it was like we were just gonna talk and just be our fun selves or whatever, and then it got heavy fast.
Yeah,
talking about parenting, talking about being dads, talking about husbands, and it was like episode 2, 3, and then by like episode like 6 or 7, we gave like the full rundown of like my journey through bipolar and how this police officer saved my life 8 years ago, and you know, it was just this whole thing. And then it was like, holy crap, did we just create like a men's mental health podcast? Like it was like, is that the route we're going? But we wanted it to feel, as we were finding our voice, like you're just riding in the truck with your friend. You're just sitting around the campfire with your friend, because you go from everything from laughing about whatever to catching up, how's so-and-so, how's the wife, how's the kids, to kind of like, man, I've been really going through it.
Yeah.
And I need some advice. And then to like the just commiserating together, and then just back to the happy. So we wanted it to feel like, and this is a nod to your brother, because he helped us kind of find this vision too, was just like, we wanted everyone to feel like they were just in the room with their friends. And we wanted that because there's so many guys out there that are so insanely lonely, that are surrounded by people, but they're so lonely. And we wanted them to feel like, I'm just hanging out with Logan and Tyson. And that's when we hit this of like, hey, we've got to hit this every single week. And dude, if we miss, I get messages of kind of like, what the hell, guys? Where is this at? And it's so insanely
That's amazing.
therapeutic to talk too.
Yeah.
Like guys need connections. And so then Tyson and I found out, I'm like, oh, we needed this relationship more than we realized.
Yeah,
like having, and it's the same thing with you guys, I'm sure, of just like having that deep connection with another guy who sees you. And I'm like, and it could be very platonic. But then we leaned into that of kind of like, oh, these guys must be gay. I'm like, well, okay. So we made content about it, and you poke the bear, and you bring the hook in, and then you bring him in with the funny. And it's like, okay, cool. We got you. Now we're going to talk about your mental health. We're going to talk about work. We're going to talk about struggles. We're going to talk about money. And we've been super blessed. We've had some amazing people on the show talking about everything from kids to finances to business ventures to suicide and everything.
Yeah.
I love that. And actually, as we were starting here, Brotherhood, I remember having conversations about exactly this thing that there's too much serious talk about mental health and referencing like, do you know the Sarah McLachlan
Oh yeah, the arms
ads?
raised.
Yeah, in the arms of an angel. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like so sad and depressing. And there's these dogs that are like
For just 59 cents a day.
Right.
You too.
Just so
Yeah.
depressing. And so we were like, okay, whatever that approach is, the opposite. And and we knew that in order to get guys there to get their attention, that humor was a good way
100%.
to start that. And so it just mirrors kind of that test of that it works. And I wanted to piggyback a little bit off of just the approach to humor. I've actually been thinking a lot about this lately, maybe in preparation for this because you're such a funny guy. But I've noticed that a lot of the best comedians, we think of Robin Williams, we think of just a lot of people that a lot of times that can be a front for
1000%.
for what's going on underneath. And I guess I just wanted to get a little bit of your perspective and maybe some of your experience there of like, why does that happen? Why does it seem that sometimes the funniest person in the room is going through the most difficult time? What is it about?
Well,
why do we do that, especially as men?
2 thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Robin Williams is one of my biggest idols.
Yeah.
I mean, every 90s, 80s kids loves him, right? Just from his characters and stuff like that. But he was one of those guys that, like, whether you knew him, Mork and Mindy, to, the genie, to, he was Mrs. Doubtfire, to Teddy Roosevelt in The Night of the Museum. Like, he just was like, and when we lost him, it was just like everyone took the shot in the gut because it was like, he's literally like the face of happiness.
Yeah.
But he has a quote, and I'm not going to give it verbatim, but you can look it up. But he basically talks about when you've been through that darkness, like when you know what that feels like, and you have the ability to bring the joy and the laughter out in somebody, like it's like you have like this moral obligation to. And so he would talk about doing that because he wouldn't want anyone else to feel the despair that he knows is out there. And so yeah, it's I mean, it's like, as somebody who's bipolar, it's the happy sad theater masks, and you put these masks on because you know that, like, people glean off of other people. They glean the happiness, they glean the joy, and sometimes that's all it needs is somebody to just make you feel a little bit better for a moment, and then you have these, the saddest clown brings the greatest joy moments, and that's what we see with like someone like Robin Williams and other great performers and comedians and just general everyday people that we know and love. Is, oh, you hear all the time, like, oh, he was so happy. Or I never saw him. Like, why?
Never
Like,
expected it.
He had everything going for him. He had the wife, he had the house, he had the job. And it's like, because men, like, we're amazing actors. We're amazing actors. Like, we can put on a face with the best of them because we think that we're protecting the people that we love, because our feelings are there. We can get back to that.
I was gonna say I want to double click on that.
But one quote that I love, we had Zachary Levi on our podcast last year.
So cool.
Dude is a very outspoken mental health advocate that also exists very very adamantly in Hollywood. He was Chuck on the show Chuck, and he was
the Chuck
Shazam, and he started Nerd HQ, which you guys know that.
Yeah.
We've worked with them, and they provide free therapy for people who are struggling and can't afford it.
Amazing.
We had him on the show, which not very often you get a celebrity on the show last minute the day after Thanksgiving and they don't make you pay.
Jeez.
So that was one of those, like, we called our guy and it was like, Aaron, we got to get to Hollywood literally on Black Friday. And he's like, I got you. Yeah. And we ended up out there, and it was a shirt mic interview. We did not have, we brought the cameras. That's what we could fit in the bags. And he said, when you've been through the flames, you have a moral obligation to carry buckets of water back to those who are still in the fire. And so that's the one thing that I kind of wear, that almost like a badge of honor of, like, yeah, I made it through the flames. Sometimes I'm still going to end up back in them, but I know what it feels like to sit there and kind of burn and feel like you can't get out. So feeling like you have the ability to bring those buckets of water back. It's almost like like I said, it's a moral obligation. You can't not do it because you remember what it's like to sit there and feel trapped. And so
So you see it as a a moral
Yeah, and it's
responsibility
almost
for
like
you.
I can't not.
Yeah.
Like, is that
Yeah.
like I look
It's like
at
your calling now.
I look at I feel terrible for how I used to look at things versus now that my prefrontal cortex is fully developed in my 30s, right? Versus like
You made it.
I was severely unmedicated and I was addicted to Adderall. I was bipolar. I was hallucinating all the time and I look at where my life could have gone and then I see, homeless individuals on the side of the street that are talking to nobody. And I'm like, that was almost me. Quite literally was almost me. And so I sit there, I'm like, what life would he have had? What life could he have? Like everyone's like, oh, we've got this. Like we tend to go first to judgment. Oh, they did it themselves. I'm like, sure, maybe in some situations. Oh yeah, they're addicted to that. Yeah, well, I didn't mean to. I ended up addicted to Adderall, and I could have gone down that route. And so it literally forces your perspective to change when you've been through something and you made it. And you're one of the lucky ones to make it out alive. Literally make it out alive. And so it changed my perspective of kind of like, what businesses was that guy going to run? What family did he maybe accidentally leave behind? Or like, and it's, or even the same thing of like, you see a young woman on the street and she's just looking for the next literal hit because it's the only way she finds dopamine anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that we're creatures of connection. And when you can't find that connection, you look for other sources of finding it. And fortunately, sometimes you can't find it. And there's people don't feel like there's any other answer than to leave.
Yeah.
And so I feel it's like, I can't not. I just, that's the best way I know how to describe it is I can't not do something about it because it takes one message.
Mm-hmm.
And one story I'll share, my anniversary just last year. My wife and I hit 12 years and we was like, what are we going to do? We're going to get Chinese food and we're going to sit and watch Ted Lasso while the kids play upstairs. That's what she wanted to do. And halfway through eating, I got a phone call from Tyson that he got a DM from one of our like super avid followers. It was a goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And I like looked at my wife and she just was like, do what you got to do. Like she knew it was our anniversary. It was like the one alone time we had all week. And he lived in another country on the other side of the pond. And we broke some laws and we got, it was like 2 a.m. over there and we got literally Scotland Yard and got them out there. And it was like, I couldn't put it down. Like I couldn't not do something about it because my thought would be like, if you can save one, it's worth trying. And now he's one of those guys that when he checks in or when he calls or when he has my personal phone number now, which that doesn't happen very often. And it's just like, there's always that thought in the back of my mind when I see his number pop up. I'm like, is it him calling or someone else is calling? And it's just, to answer your question in a long-winded way, it's kind of like it reminds you of that darkness and it pulls you back just enough to be like, if I can do anything to help keep someone from going there, I don't have a choice at this point. I have to do something about it. So
as a follow-up, there's a lot of people that I talk to, and I'm sure you get this all the time, of people that have a story, right? We all have a story, but that have these kind of dramatic moments in their life sometimes, and others it's just like many moments sprinkled throughout their lives. But and they remain advocates. They're always willing to talk about it, but they're not necessarily proactive about what you're saying. So I guess there's two questions in here. One being, I want to know when it was for you that it clicked from being somebody that's not just sharing, but that's sharing to like actively advocating and talking about it and being a lifeline for many people. So that's one part of the question. The other is, what do you think people can do to get to that point where they switch it on towards action? Because there's so many people out there that are amazing, well-intentioned, maybe just busy in the thick of it, but they're not speaking out. They're not doing anything about it. So take whatever questions you want out of all of that, and would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I don't know if you guys have heard of the I Love You Bro project here in Utah. Amazing.
Joe's amazing.
Free men's mental health support group. And we've got guys from all walks of life. There's like 10 groups. Tyson's one of the facilitators up in the Ogden group.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know that.
And that guy, rain or shine, holiday, birthday, doesn't matter. They do not. Those groups go, and there's guys that heavily rely on that. And Joe is a data nerd, and he's given us some amazing statistics that I use quite a bit. One of the ones is 80% of all suicides are men, and on average that it takes one time for a man to attempt vulnerability with a partner or a shared, someone they share, a close relationship with. If they were to get shut down, their chances of them speaking up again drastically drop to almost zero. And so
imagine trying that as a child or
Yeah.
as a teenager. It's like
exactly, and this is
most
the
likely
thing
in
is,
shut down.
and guys, our prefrontal cortex, I know I made that joke already. It doesn't
Yeah.
fully develop until we're in our early 30s.
Yeah.
So we literally don't think fully rationally until we are in our 30s. And a lot of us, especially here in Utah, we're raising babies long before that happens, right? And so we
Makes a lot of
we
sense now.
feel like,
actually,
yeah,
for
like,
myself.
right? Like, well,
Like,
you got a whole,
I'm
you got a
34,
whole-
so
you got a whole bucket of
just
kids,
recently
dude.
feels like it's starting to develop.
Yeah, but like for me, it's going back to giving guys permission, right? Like we can talk all day long. Talk therapy is amazing. Podcasts are amazing. You can give some of the resources all day long, and that's kind of what we've tried to do. You guys
Yeah.
do this. We've done it on our podcast, everything from mental health professionals all the way to guys who have made it big, and we talk about what we call the top ramen stories. Back when you were sleeping on your friend's couch before you ended up having 2 commas in your bank account. Our motto with Dad Bods and Beards is it starts with you. It's got to start with you. I can motivate you up and down the street.
Yeah.
You can save every Instagram reel, every TikTok, you can listen to every single podcast, but you're the only one who's going to make the leap. And it's like, what is it going to take? And often we don't ask ourselves that question. What is it going to take? Because men don't want to admit this, but we want to be saved. We want someone to come in, kick the door down, pull us up off the couch. And sometimes we're lucky enough to have someone like that. I had that with my wife. When I say I'm one of the lucky ones, that woman quite literally saved my life because of her stubbornness and her protection of her babies. So for me, I was just thought I was ADHD for years on all the different ADHD meds. Wasn't working, needed more. Ended up taking way too much. And it was messing me up. And I was being I was on the spectrum of bipolar where I was hallucinating. I was being chased by demons. Literally. I had dark figures that would sit on my bed every night and tell me of the deepest, darkest parts of myself. Because it was me. It was my projection of myself. And I would have, quote, possession moments. My wife found me one night banging my head on the front door, screaming, "Get out of my head." She was pregnant with our second child. It was insanely traumatic.
Wild.
To a pregnant woman.
Yeah.
Our not even 2-year-old little girl is sleeping in the next room, and she's watching the man she's just paired her entire life with, pounding his head into a door, saying, "Get out of my head." And the memory I have that's seared into my brain is coming to, sitting on the ground, and my wife, like, hysterically crying, holding her stomach. It's like seared into my brain.
Oof.
And even in that moment, I tried to explain away. I tried to excuse away. I was extremely religious at the time, and I was like, oh, well, I was more convinced that it was an actual demon in my head than the possibility of a mental illness. And it hit a point where her and a couple other people in my life were basically like, you're going to a psychiatrist whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
And that broke me because I was like, no, I'm a man. I've got my daughter.
Come on, I'm hilarious. I'm
Yeah,
all these. I've got it together.
And it's like, and I've got a little boy on the way.
Yeah.
I don't need this. I can fix myself
Yeah.
bootstraps, alpha bro. I just need a process. I just need to time block. I just need to discipline. I just did it. No, my brain chemistry was messed up, and I was not even giving myself the benefit of the doubt that maybe it was beyond my control. But as men, we create the own toxic voices that we listen to, and it was a situation where what completely broke me was my wife, my pregnant wife, and my daughter handed me off to my mommy and daddy to go sleep at their house because my dad was going to take me to an emergency psychiatry appointment in the morning. So there I am, laying in a twin bed back at my mommy and daddy's house where my pregnant wife and my daughter are sleeping 45 minutes away. I was broken.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I failed. I was like, there's nothing. Like I screwed up. I was like, I am so worthless. I can't even just be a man. I can't do this right. And I started feeling that, okay, if I remove myself from the equation, she's still young. My son will never have to worry about knowing me. My daughter doesn't. She'll look at pictures. My wife is young. She's beautiful. She's got all these things going. She'll find another guy, and you start feeling like removing yourself from the equation is doing them a favor. And I get so riled up and heated when guys are like, "Oh, he took the easy way out. Oh, he took the coward's way out. Oh, he gave up." Like, no. When you understand,
you have no idea what's going on in that head.
Yeah, and when you understand when the brain chemistry is so mixed up, and you're justifying, it's there are situations where people are escaping mistakes that they've made.
Sure.
Yes. But more often than not, with men who are dying by suicide, and even in teens, kids, women, people, because we feel that we are such a burden in the lives of the people that we love, that if we remove ourselves from that equation, they will be hand over fist better without us. And that could not be further from the truth. The hole that you will leave is so insanely unfillable that you can't rationalize, and you can't speak rationally to somebody in that moment. And I snapped. I broke completely. I had full mental breakdown. I blacked out, and I woke up just over 3 miles away from where I was supposed to be, in a pharmacy parking lot, middle of the night. I had written 3 goodbye letters, one to my wife, one to my children, and one that was just like logistics for my wife. Here's the bank account info. Here's how to pay the power bill. Here's how to pay the rent. Here's how to pay all this stuff. I'm sorry about these. I didn't tell you about these. And I woke up in the pharmacy parking lot. I had been running against traffic on a 2-lane road, and there was calls to the police that there was a man running at cars. And next thing I know, cars come flying into this parking lot because I made a phone call. Guy had a phone in the parking lot. Let me call my wife. First thing I started doing. I've been missing for over an hour. And I call my wife. She's hysterical. And I'm like, I'm fine. Because the first words out of my mouth, fine.
I'm fine.
And the first words out of her mouth were, stop it. You're not. Stop it. You're like, stop trying to, you're not. Look where you are. And it was that moment when I say she saved my life, because it was just this, like, it was this firm, like just knock it off. Like stop trying to tell me you're fine. Everyone can see that you're not fine. You're not fooling anybody anymore. And my mom and dad come flying in the parking lot from different directions. And I'm just trying to escape the situation. I'm still like in shock. Don't know where I am. And I try to open my mom's door, and she's got her window cracked. The door's locked. And I'm trying to pull the door, and it's just, she's scared. Dad's coming over. He's on crutches. He had back surgery. He's trying to calm me down, and I just was erratic. Yeah. Police come in, and in that moment, even though I'd done nothing wrong, I was like, I got to run. and lights, sirens, whatever, missing, a suicidal man missing, guy running at traffic. First guy comes in, and he's thinking that I got to control the situation. I do not respond well to authority. Yeah. And I don't remember exactly everything he was saying, but I was pushing back. And then Katie showed up. Officer Katie Cooley, now Officer Katie Muella of the Elk Grove Police Department back in Sacramento. I don't know what it was. She got through to me. She could see a broken man, and I was trying to run home. That was the direction I would have gone. And she got through to me, and she was like, look, dude, if I get you in the back of my car, I can take you through the back door of the hospital. No one has to see you in there. You don't have to sit in the waiting room. She was like speaking to my pride. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's like, you obviously need help. And so it was literally like the tag team of 2 women in my life that saved my life. So that's what we try to do with men, is just kind of like, you've got to get out of your own damn way for a minute and let people in. Because like the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different outcome. So you've got to upset the process a little bit. And so that's what we try to do. And what I try to do is like give you permission just enough. And it's like, stop listening to the guys that are telling you you're not enough unless you buy their course. You're not enough unless you're not a man if you can't lift this much. You're not a man if you don't have a 6-pack. You're not, if anything you're listening to on social media starts with you're not a man if, scroll past as fast as you possibly
can.
Run
away. Yep.
Because you're the only you that we get on this whole freaking planet. And so for me, I looked at that of like, what do I stand to lose? Which would be everything. When I had that first moment of clarity, Katie stayed there with me in the emergency room. Her job was done. She could have left. She stayed there for way longer than she should have. She gave me her card and she said, I want you to call me in 5 years.
Wow.
You're gonna be fine. I've carried her card.
You're gonna be fine.
Literally, she knew, and I've carried her card in my wallet ever since. I laminated it. And just last year, on the anniversary in October, I went back to California, and she and I retraced that whole 3-mile walk together, filmed the whole thing, did a whole like news thing out there in Sacramento, and she and I mean, my kids know who Katie is.
Yeah.
And she's an insanely impactful person in my life because she helped save my life. And so I look at it, to answer your question in a very long, convoluted way again, is
Love it.
when you take a step back and you look at the people in your life who are constantly feeding into you, who are constantly pouring into your cup, you have a moral obligation back to them to stay present. Like, don't let their efforts fall, for nothing. And so it's not bootstrap stuff. It's not just dedication or motivation or all these other like words. It's sometimes it's just taking one step forward. Just, okay, get up off the couch and just go for a walk. Sometimes it is simple as like, hey, I know how hard in a depressive state getting in the shower is, but sometimes try taking a shower. Just try talking to somebody, and just try coming to a group. Try something, because it's one step after one step after one step. And if it's medication, great, wonderful. If it's talk therapy, if it's breath work, if it's hypnotherapy, if it's ayahuasca, I don't care. Do something positive for yourself. And that's why our whole thing is it starts with you. No one, at the end of the day, you can't rely on someone to come and save you, but people are making efforts, and you have to recognize that.
Oh, so good. And thank you for sharing all that. I know we're
sorry. I'm a long-winded guy.
Are you kidding me? This has been amazing, and we're just about out of time. But one thing I love about that phrase, "It starts with you," is, and just this whole idea of that is the accountability around it. And we've had a lot of discussions over the years about accountability and how important that is to starting your growth. And I guess as my final question before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on a message that we've been talking about recently of like how much accountability should we be taking? I don't know the right way to ask this, but there's certain things that have happened to us, right, that are beyond us. They're not our accountability. So how much do we take accountability for? Because there's things that are out of our control. And there's things that are in our control, and we are accountable for our own stories, right? And how we think about that. And so talk to me a little bit about that and about accountability in general, and how that has helped you in your process.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not perfect by any means.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I've got my whole like, oh, you did this to me type situations that I'm still working past. Yeah. But like Brock, that's another relationship we didn't talk about. You introduced me to Brock Painter.
Oh, yeah.
And that dude has become a staple in my life.
Yeah.
He got me to run a marathon. He got me to start my business. He got me, I mean, that guy, that little
He's
ball.
so great.
Dude's like a little pit bull. And I love that guy so much. But like he's somebody that holds me accountable.
Yeah.
But he also gives me grace.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. And so for me, accountability is one of those things where it's like, you literally, you get 100% of what you ask for every single day. And if you want to sit and wallow on something that happened to you, you're just going to sit in there, and it's going to continue to happen. You're going to relive that over and over and over, and call it God, call it universe, call it source, or whatever. They're going to continue to give you what your nervous system is asking for. But if you take accountability and realizing that you're the only one who's going to be able to get you up off the couch, you're the only one who's going to be able to change your life. Like that's accountability has to come from within. And if you can't find it in yourself, it has to come from within to reach out to somebody that you trust to ask to be held accountable. My wife has I don't even know the right word. She has every right in the world that if she ever notices any red flag from how I used to be,
yeah,
there is never a like, oh, you got to let that version of me go, or like, you never let me, like, no, like she lived through some insanely traumatic stuff. She has every right in the world to hold me accountable of like, I'm noticing this makes me feel this way. And then she has every right to ask for a conversation about that and explanations and understanding, because we're a partnership. Same thing of like Tyson and our business partners and stuff like that. Is you have to be able to, I think as a man, if you're not willing to accept accountability, that's a pride issue. Like, and so for me, it's like such a broad painted subject, accountability, but it's the only way I've ever gotten anything done. With my mental health, I was accountable to my wife and to the efforts everybody made. and then with business, I'm accountable to Tyson, and just personal development. I've done things that I've never been able to do because Brock held me accountable. He's like, Logan, you're going to run a marathon. I'm like, you're really funny. I'm over 300 pounds and I can't even run a mile. I ran a marathon.
Yeah, you did.
Because he made me. But because he held me accountable, because he saw something in me that I didn't see myself. And sometimes accountability is giving someone else permission to paint the picture for you how they see you, because often, more times than not, we just have so much negative self-talk that we can't see our own potential. So sometimes accountability pushes you to the next level of being like, oh, this is the real me. This is another version of myself I didn't know existed. And you're going to find people that you're going to tell them something. Oh man, I know we're over. I'm going to stop with this. Accountability is also this beautiful thing that helps you understand who's actually in your corner and who's not. Mm-hmm. Because you tell somebody like Brock or Tyson or whatever, like, hey, I'm going to run a marathon. They're like, let's go. What do you need? Let me help you. And then there's other people in my life that I had in my life for a long time, longer than my wife. I'm going to run a marathon. Sure, bud. And then guess who was at the finish line? Brock, Tyson, my wife, chosen family, people that...
Beautiful.
You know, and that's just a metaphor of the marathon, but it's like you're going to have people that you're going to tell them you're going to do something, and then they're going to be like, yeah, you are. And then they're going to follow up with you. Are you doing this? Are you doing what it takes to get there? And then there are people, they're just waiting for you to fail because that's the box you've lived in with them for years. So accountability is a beautiful tool that helps you find your people too, in my book.
I love that. And it's like a two-way street of like, what a gift for them too. They got to be such a part of that at the finish line that it's their victory too. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we think that we are burdening others by asking for help, but I think it's one of the greatest blessings that, it can be a gift to give somebody an opportunity to love us, and hopefully that's reciprocated in these kinds of relationships. I interrupted you.
No, I love that the accountability piece is not the pull it up by your bootstraps and do it alone, as you just articulated and illustrated for us, because sometimes I've had that kind of limited perspective of what it means. You know, it's all about just like, I have to do it. If I'm accountable, it's all on me and I have to do it alone, right? Mm-hmm. And that's like the false perspective of accountability, and the way that you just laid it out there of what it looks like to be held accountable, to hold others accountable, and to do it as a community, right? With the people that have your back and that are rooting for you. Like, that's a beautiful framing of accountability. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be one or the other. It's a beautiful mixture of both. Yeah, there's going to be some things you're going to have to do that only you can do, right? But then there's also like lean on people. That's why we're here. We're creatures of connection. Like when you let people in, it is like this beautiful, like, oh man, like when you think people know you versus when you find out when people really know you. It's just kind of like you feel bad for the people that you have to put on a mask for, because it's like, you don't, like, our relationship is so superficial and I feel bad for that, but it's like I have to protect parts of myself around you. Yeah. And so that's what I love, that kind of comparison of like, yeah, it can be both. It can, and the same thing with masculinity. It can be insanely empathetic, but it can also be like, you break in my house, I'm hurling my body off the stairs at you, right? Like it can be both. Like if this will be the last thing I'll say, and I know we'll wrap up, is if men were not meant to feel feelings, I have such a problem with the whole F your feelings thing. Yeah. We would not have the emotional capacity to feel them, period. We are emotional creatures, right? So you can do both. You can be this emotionally safe place for the people in your life, but then you can use that get crap done part of your masculinity to show people like the beautiful side of accountability and just moving forward and progression. And like, my whole goal is to just be the guy that no matter what, my kids know that, like, oh yeah, I can talk to dad. Something happened. Dad's going to come get me. You know, like same thing with my wife. Just my whole goal is just trying to be the protector of people's peace. And I love everything you guys are doing and giving me a chance to talk about it. So
well, we've loved our time with you, and thank you for sharing all of that with us, and for letting us be witnesses of your journey and witnesses of the cool things that you've been able to do. And we might have to do a part 2 at some point.
I love it, dude. I'm down. I like talking.
Yeah, I know. And so do I. And so it's just a win-win. Okay, real quick, tell us where to find you. Maybe tell us about your comedy tour, all the things that you want to send us to.
So Instagram's Logan Petersen with an E spelled the right way.
Petersen.
Petersen, the Danish side, hence the beard. But yeah, and then Dad Bods and Beards is our podcast. You can find it literally everywhere. You can watch it on YouTube or you can watch it on Spotify. And then we started Middle Aged Mayem, which is a comedy. It's like a blue collar comedy tour, but millennials. And it's me, Tyson Allred, Scott D. Henry from social media, and then our good friend Heath Harmison, who's like a 20-year comedic vet. And we just started doing like 30 to 40-year-old dad-related, husband-related, friend-related comedy. And we did 1 show, 2 show, 3 show. Now we're doing a celebrity wine event in Arizona next week for 1,000 people.
Holy
And
smokes.
we got signed to a partial 2026 tour with everybody's work schedules. And 2027 is, okay, everybody quit your job. So you're going to have 40 shows. And
crazy.
yeah, it's a wild ride. And I've had a ton of people tell me, you haven't done enough time in comedy to, well, I was given a shot and I'm taking it. So
Amazing.
yeah, look for Middle Aged Mayhem and like I said, I'm just Logan Petersen. That's who I am. So
Love it.
Right
Well,
on.
thanks for joining us on the Here Brotherhood podcast. We love you, and
I love you guys back.
thanks for joining.
So toodles. That's Tyson.
Toodles.
That's Tyson
Toodles.
sign off.
Toodles.
I love it.